To stand up in front of the spotlight here. He has also written 2 books that may explain part of his journey, and I'm sure that's what his presentation will go over today.
My name is Tom, and this is my wife Margie, and in the picture that you see, next to me is my oldest son, Daniel, and next to my wife is my younger son, Christopher. We are originally from California, and in 1997 we moved to New Jersey, and then in 2009 we came here to Connecticut. I was, before my stroke, a very highly paid IT professional, working with computers and upper management, and I loved to kayak, was very, very active, loved to ballroom dance with my wife, and she was a ballroom dance instructor, and I used to help her do that. And also I was a assistant pastor, and I used to do public speaking as that. And then 1 week before my 54th birthday, that's when it all happened to me. Of course, as I woke up in the hospital feeling very confused and disoriented and wondering what had happened, like all of you, I'm here, but where am I? That first central question I think that all of us go through is, who are we now? I went through that. Who am I? And what am I going to do from here on out? As a pastor, as a counselor that I was beforehand, all I had were words to take other people's pain away. But it seemed to me that what I was hearing from so many other people were cliches and platitudes that very often came across to me as sometimes painful or even hurtful. And the types of things that I like to hear, I think that some of us like to hear, are not that we're doing well consistently, but that we're doing well for today. I like to hear you're fighting the good fight today. Focus on what you can do today. Focus on what you can do now. I like what you're doing. You have a good effort today. I wake up in the morning, and the morning is the fight. I have pain, with post-stroke pain and things like that. It's day by day for me. I like to know that, for me it's the endurance and consistency. Those are the attaboys that are meaningful to me. I hear a lot about, and I heard a lot immediately about, there was going to be, for me, the old normal, the old me, with the way I used to be, and the new normal. And that stroke was the dividing line between how I was and how I am now. And that there was going to be a lot of things that I was going to have to let go of, and I was going to have to embrace that new me. Well, part of that new me now was going to be vertigo and pain and dependency. And that was going to be part of who that new me was. And it was going to be the consistent old me that was going to be constantly wanting to say, I want to live again. I want to do the things that I used to do, and I want to be part of this new me experience too. And when people say, well, what do you do all day? I'm in a group of people, I'm an accountant, I'm a doctor. Well, what do you do, Tom? Well, a lot of times my brain is hurting and I have to rest. And I get up and I go for walks, or I do some mild exercise, and then when I can, I get up and I work on the computer. I do Facebook, like people were talking around here. I do a lot of that. Young stroke survivors group, things like that are really some of my favorite. And when I can, I do volunteer. I volunteer at BIAC, and I volunteer in the other support group that you can see over there. And then, it all breaks down, and my brain starts hurting, and I have to rest again. What I'm looking for is to get solutions that combine some of that, something old, something new. I want to bring out some of my old me and put it together with my new me, kind of like that mad scientist there. And, when my doctor told me back a while ago, and it's still true today because of my post-stroke situation, that, you know, what is my new me is permanent and it's not going to improve. I determined at that point that I was going to have to adapt from my old me into my new me. And I knew that some experiences were going to be brief and rewarding, but they were always going to have to include some old me into that. And, well, let me give you some examples. First of all, fluid motion. In the new me experiences, people offer me things like, okay, well, you have some therapy tools and yoga and physical therapy, and those are all enjoyable things. But what I'm suggesting is different. I can't drive anymore, but I still like fast cars. I still like the feeling of wind in my hair. So, you know, I want the feeling of that fast movement. You know, even though I can't drive, I want the feeling of fast motion. You know, I can't get out and swing a bat anymore because my arm, this arm, you know, hurts. But I still want the feeling of activity. I can't hike like I used to, but I still want exploration. So I love to explore. So, you know, we used to ballroom dance, but now, you know, as often as we can afford it, we go out, you know, on cruise ships. My wife takes me out on the dance floor. She has to support me, because if I'm not carrying this, she is my support, my balance. And we still dance. It's wonderful. It's just the greatest thing. I used to kayak, but because I love to be on the water, but I found this organization. I have flyers on the table called Sail Connecticut Access, and they take people out on the water to go sailing. And it's right here in Westbrook, Connecticut, and it's free. Well, it's $45 one-time charge. There's more information on the table about that. These are all ways to take experiences that they're different, but they're similar to the old me, and incorporating them into the new me. For, you know, pain. You know, pain is something. I'm in pain right now. My arm is hurting, my legs are hurting, and my brain is hot. So there's nothing that's going to stop that. This is just part of who I am. So forgetting pain. You know, many of us are, I'm sure, is the same way that I am right now. And my eyes never function quite right. If you shake my head, so I get my eyes to refocus right, because I have what do you call it, the phobia or whatever, and nystagmus. But so forgetting pain. You know, we take a lot of medications and things like that. But what I'm thinking of is, how do we forget pain for a moment? Joy. You know, laughter. What are the things that used to make us laugh? What are the things that make us laugh now? Can family members help us think of things that used to make us laugh before we had our stroke? Can family members help us laugh now? We need laughter in our life. Physical touch. You know, a lot of times as stroke survivors, we're touched in ways that are very clinical, and we're not touched in ways that are loving like we used to be, even though we're still husbands or wives or mothers or fathers or daughters or sons or anything like that. We still need that soft and gentle touch, not just the clinical touches like, oh my gosh, how are you? Did you fall? Did you hurt yourself? We still want that soft and gentle touching. You know, challenging the brains. You know, I still want my brain challenged all the time. Now, there's some really cool new you survivor challenges. I saw them here last year. I don't know if they're still here. But, you know, puzzles, computer stuff, software and apps that were really cool. Adult coloring books I really like. You know, painting and things like that. But what challenged me before my brain injury? Well, I was really into games like Risk, chess, and really hard Sudoku. But right now, if I try any of those, I'm just going to go haywire, and my brain's going to have a total meltdown. I can't do that anymore. So now, what challenges my brain now is I love to write. I've written a couple of books, and even though my eyes are all haywire and my hand hurts, my writing hand, I still push through and do it because I want to. It's something that I really love to do, and I'm a total photography buff. We've already bought tons of cameras because it's something I love to do. So it's something we invest in together. And I love to paint little models, and it's something that, you know, once again, I have this big old magnifying glass and for details and things. And there's some really cool free online jigsaw puzzles that just make playing jigsaw puzzles a blast that I love to do. That's how I'm challenging my brain now. Different experiences, but similar to the challenging that I did before. You know, feeling love. Pain is a huge obstacle now in that love loss sense. You know, I'm dealing, I think all of us who have strokes are dealing with several love loss issues. The first one is, what makes me lovable today? Today, right now, we're wondering, many of us are wondering, why am I lovable today? What makes me lovable? The second is, you know, I'm sitting here, I walk, 1 mile an hour, and everybody's a whirlwind around me. That is just, I can't handle that sometimes. And the third thing is, when people say I love you, sometimes it feels like, is it me, or is it the memory of the way I used to be? And that's just, that is, I know it's in my imagination, but it's still a hard thing to deal with for us as survivors, for me as a survivor. I can't presume to speak for all of us, but I think I might be speaking for some of us. And to bring back that loving feeling, I think to be loved is better to be cared for, because, when I was in the hospital, I was expertly cared for, but, it was when my wife and the kids came and other people came to visit me, that's when I felt loved. And, to have family members do things for me is good, but I want people who love me to do things with me, not just for me, but with me. That's more important. That's just all of it, do things with us. I really don't like the term caregiver applied to family members. I think caregiver is a horrible term when it's used with family members. I really prefer the term love giver, affection provider, things like that. I think those are the terms that should be given to family members. Coping with dependency. I think all of us, when we first went into the hospital, I know me, for sure, it felt like that for that whole time in the hospital and rehab, it felt like I was being stamped with dependency all over my head because, I lost my ability to drive, I lost my ability to work, I lost a lot of my freedom. I was in the wheelchair, you'll never walk again, and you're going to have difficulty talking. Now you can't sit down and shut up. I just lost, and now also my dependency on other people is making other people around me change. I see that my dependency on my wife is forcing her to have her old Margie and her new Margie. She's changing, so the dependency that I have because of my injury is making everything around me change, and I don't like that. I mean, everything around me is changing, and I'm hurting all the relationships around me. And I'm smart enough, like somebody said, who was just talking in the question earlier. I'm not dumb. I'm still here. I'm fully cognizant. Everything is working inside. And when somebody says to me, I can't help you right now, I can't do that for you, I can't, I'm so wrapped up in my dependency, it feels like I don't love you right now. No, I don't care about you anymore. And I'm so wrapped up in my dependency on other people that when they say no, sometimes it feels to me like I just don't love you. And that's just the way it feels. I don't know, I hope I'm helping other people with this. The more the physical dependency is going to be, the greater the emotional dependency. I want to talk a little bit about depression and the forbidden subject. I heard that come up a little bit. This is not something that all of us have to go through, but I don't think anybody's immune to. And that is, it's a huge battle, and it's a battle that when we fight it, we're completely alone. And the reason why is, first of all, we've gone through too many changes, and there is just too much pain, and there is just no other option. And what happens? Why won't I talk about it? Well, why didn't I talk about it? Well, first of all, because I was too strong. I was so strong, I didn't think I needed to talk about it. Secondly, I was too smart. I could outthink my way out of this easily. Third, I could outpray myself. I told you I was a pastor. There's no way somebody who used to be as religious as I was could easily fall for something as stupid as wanting to commit suicide. But I did. And the other thing, I couldn't go to family members. How could I burden family members with something this difficult? And I didn't want to go to the medical community because they were going to wrap me up in a straitjacket and throw me in the loony bin. But finally, I did go to the medical community, which was the right thing to do, and I found out that the stroke had hurt part of that brain control center that controls emotions, and it was very simple. It was a very simple pill that I now take that fixes my emotions, and I feel great. I don't have those senses anymore. But what was it like? It was like a drill sergeant yelling at me all the time, just do it. Just do it because you're worthless. You have no value in life anymore. There's nothing to you. And all I could do was just stand my ground against it. That's what it felt like. What's the help that I feel is needed? Family members, first of all, aren't equipped. They have emotional needs of their own. We were in equally emotional supportive relationships. We should be nowadays, I think. Depression drives such a serious wedge into all relationships. And the medical and counseling communities, I believe, that I want to see, I think they should develop programs that somehow enable survivors to discuss emotional needs that somehow don't overburden family members and survivors, that develop programs that somehow create that atmosphere of discussion. I haven't seen it yet. There's so much more, I think, for survivors and their families. And I want to see, let's craft new ideas that take our new me strengths and incorporate our new me deficits and our old me heart together. And that's a big thing that we discuss a lot in our support groups. And survivors and family members should be equally supportive in their relationships. Family members are a type of caregiver. I don't like the word caregiver given to them. They are untrained. They're vastly superior at loving. I've never seen a doctor love me as much as my wife does. But they're not properly utilized. I don't feel that when designing therapy, I don't think the family member's ever been properly utilized for designing therapy. And the other thing is, be on guard for depression. No matter how strong you think they are, you think that you are never strong enough to win it on your own. If anybody was strong enough, I should have been. You are never strong enough. We have two tables here that my wife and I are at, over in the corner there. One is Brain Injury Alliance of Connecticut, information center for getting more information if you need for questions about assistance that you need, and also there's more support group that meets on second and fourth Fridays, 11 to 1 p.m. discussion activity. That's in Bloomfield. And that is it. Did you have any questions? Good? Thank you. Okay. Questions? Thoughts? Responses? Did I talk too fast?
Alrighty. Alright, so now get up, stretch, walk around facilities, see some of the vendors, pick up some information. We talked about social support and transportation, and we'll find out how you can plug yourself into those things. Well, we start at about 11. Hi. Yeah, thank you.
So I like to be able to give people resources to look at.
This is
just research about the support group.
Awesome. Thank you so much for talking.